Hi everyone, welcome to the Study Abroad in the UK and Irish Universities webinar. My name is Eric Zagiri. I am the International Programs Advisor and I advise specifically for the English universities, Irish universities, and Scottish universities programs, which is what we're talking about today. So welcome. I am with the International Education Office, or IEO. We are the one-stop shop for undergraduate study abroad opportunities. At our office, you can consult with our study abroad advisors or coordinators, and we can connect you with study abroad programs, resources, as well as peers who have studied abroad themselves. This week, we're having our Global Learning Opportunities Week, and this UK and Irish Universities webinar is a part of that. But throughout the week, we're showcasing a number of study abroad related resources and unique opportunities, as well as funding for study abroad. This is what we will be discussing in this specific webinar. We'll talk briefly about COVID-19, what that means for study abroad at this time. We'll do some very, very brief study abroad 101 refreshers, and we'll then launch into an overview of what English, Scottish, and Irish universities are as immersion programs. And then I'll talk about the application process and some tips and what timeline you're working with. Then we'll have, I'm hoping to have a lot of time saved for Q&A as well. So when it comes to study abroad and COVID right now, summer 2021 programs and on, including fall semester and year-long programs for English, Scottish, and Irish universities are scheduled to run as of today or as of this recording. For those that will view it at a later times, they're scheduled to go on. We are continuously monitoring the safety abroad. So our office, the UCLA Study Abroad office, and our partners like UCEAP are monitoring world events and assessing the safety of our programs for our students and faculty. And we're sensitive to the student timelines and give considerate go or no-go decisions related to whether or not a program will actually be running. And there are some limited opportunities for double enrollment for programs during the academic year. So you can maintain your UCLA enrollments for a term that you plan on studying abroad for an extended period. Virtual alternatives are for some select faculty programs. We have some programs that are faculty led through UCLA, but these programs, English, Scottish, and Irish, it doesn't really apply to that. Flexibility and patience, though, is something that is required in this time. We're really working in an ever-changing environment, and more than ever, our students who are looking at study abroad in the near future, we ask that you be flexible, as there are some factors outside of our control that may change your plans unexpectedly. And then when it comes to passports, please renew or apply for a passport as soon as possible. We know that the US Department of State has an extensive backlog of passport applications, and it's currently taking longer than their usual 6 to 8 weeks processing window. So we strongly encourage students who can to apply for or renew their passport now or ASAP to ensure that they have a passport in a timely manner. There are a handful of programs that will require students to secure a student or visitor visa before departure to enter certain countries, and that may require you to have a passport well in advance before your program's departure date. So this information is important, but it's mostly applying to our US citizens traveling with American passports, though similar delays may be occurring with your nationality's passport processing offices. And with that, we will get into these very brief Study Abroad 101 refreshers. But a distinction, what is actually covered in Study Abroad 101? We talk about program types in detail, credit transfer, costs and funding, and the general application process and timeline. Hopefully at this point, you have already watched the Study Abroad 101 because we're not really covering this information. We're focused specifically on 3 programs and how to apply to them. However, here are just 2 very brief refreshers from the 101. There are a lot of different program types. You can experience a broad spectrum of what's available through study abroad, but traditional university immersion is what we're talking about today in the context of English, Scottish, and Irish universities. If you're curious about other types and you haven't yet seen the 101, you can check out the 101 recorded, and it's in the on-demand section of our GLOW webpage to find out more details about faculty-led, cohort, or UC Center programs. But again, today we are focused on traditional university immersion. And on the topic of financial aid, Yes, you can use financial aid for these English, Scottish, and Irish university programs. Eligible students can use their financial aid package to cover the cost, and it can be comprised of any combination of scholarships, grants, and loans. With that, we will get into what English, Scottish, and Irish universities programs are. But out of curiosity, I have this little poll. I'm going to launch it for you to let me know which of these three programs are you considering, and you should be able to select multiple if you're considering multiple. All right, so I will just close this. Looks like most people are done. So it looks like we have a lot of people are interested in English universities, and then about smaller percentage focused on Irish and Scottish, but pretty good mix. And this reflects a lot of what I see on a pretty consistent basis. We tend to send the most students on the English universities program, but Irish and Scottish are also seeing a growing number of interest among students. So good to see that we have a good mix here. All right. So what is this university immersion program that I've been talking about? So when you're doing a university immersion program like these three, you're studying at a host university as an international student. You're taking classes from local faculty alongside local students who are getting their degree from that university. And you're accessing courses in a wide range of disciplines like you do here at UCLA. They have all these different departments available, from the arts and humanities to social sciences and STEM fields. And then you also have the freedom to really mix and match your course schedule. You can take stuff for your major, you can take stuff for GEs, minor related, really any combination is possible. And the other thing I'll say academically about this is that you're immersing in the classroom and the academic culture of the host university. They're not catering their teaching to US students. What you're getting is an authentic taste of the UK or Irish university experience. What this also means is that you get to experience life as a full-time student at that host university. You have access to student life, the organizations, the events, and student housing. So you can get involved on campus. We've had students in the past join like the DJs Club, get involved in the Political Science Association, cultural organizations. Students have done it all. And so this is a really great way to get plugged into what life is like as a student in the UK or Ireland. So it can be really exciting. Just a note about housing as well. Most universities offer options for dorms. So you're living with international and or local students, or you can choose to find your own apartment. It just depends on the specific university, whether the apartment option is available. But specific housing information can be found on each program's UCEAP webpage. I have a quick question for you all. What interests you all most about this type of program? Let me know in the chat what you find most appealing about English, Scottish, and Irish universities. Okay, I've seen a lot of people talk about culture as a big aspect. That's really great. We also see opportunity to explore a new country. We like the immersion aspect of it. Some folks sharing, the beauty of these places or the scenery. Other folks talking about a personal connection, saying that their mom grew up in England. So yeah, if you have that connection, that's a really great way to explore it if you haven't had the opportunity. And someone saying they want to learn the Irish language. Those are all really great reasons. Those are all really, really great opportunities that could be available through these programs and through this immersion experience. So thank you all for sharing that. Now that we finished that overview, we're going to talk a little bit more about what does the application actually look like? How do you apply to this program and really put your best effort forward? So when you apply to a English, Scottish, or Irish universities program, you're applying to English universities, Scottish universities, or Irish universities. It's not an individual university in the beginning. However, within the UCAP application, what you do is you rank your top choices in order of your preference. Ultimately, you are just attending one university. You're not hopping from all the different universities back and forth. You're just doing one. But there are several factors that determine which university you ultimately are matched with, also known as referred to. So the question then becomes, how do you get referred to a university? Well, first and foremost, you must meet the minimum GPA for your top choice universities. Then your top choices must make academic sense. Basically, can you study what you want to study there? They all have different options available. Some allow you a lot of freedom to choose from different departments, and then others might have more restrictions. So for example, Imperial College London, it is exclusively for engineering students. So if you're engineering, you can definitely consider ranking Imperial College London as a top choice. But if you're not engineering, Imperial College London doesn't really make academic sense. And then University College London, although they have a psychology department, they do not grant access to visiting students to the psychology courses or department there. So if you're psychology and you were really looking at University College London, unfortunately, that does not make academic sense. And so it's important to then look at what are the other options where I would actually be able to study psychology. And then the other thing that I'll say is that Irish and Scottish universities, for the most part, don't really have as many restrictions as English universities does. But for the most part, students who meet the minimum GPA and select a good academic fit, those students are much more likely to be referred to their top first or second choice institution. No guarantees can be made, but typically students who take GPA and academic fit into account are more successful in this process. All right, we're taking a quick moment to talk about the GLOW keyword of the day. So as part of GLOW, we are hosting a virtual scavenger hunt using keywords. Today's work is on the screen, Cenote. Visit the ieo.ucla.edu/GLOW website and submit the keyword on our scavenger hunt form by 11:59 p.m. tonight to be entered into a drawing to win today's prize, which is a $75 AS UCLA gift card. The winners will be announced the following day and contacted via email provided. So if you want to take part in our scavenger hunt, please note today's word is cenote. So this will be left up for one more second if you want to capture that. And then we will shift back into application process by discussing tips and resources. So how do you submit the best UCAP application for this program? I highly recommend you select 2 to 3 universities that you are eligible for and that offer what you want to study. Do not rank only one university, have at least one backup choice. By doing so, you're giving yourself more options and security. Most students should be able to find at least 2 to 3 options that will work for them. And then thoughtfully complete the academic considerations for institution placement section. More details about this are on the next slide. And use the academic offerings document linked on the program's academics page to inform your choices, your rankings, and your considerations. So at this point, how many of you are finalizing your rankings if you've gotten to that point? How many choices are you considering? Let me know in the chat what number you're working with or whether or not you've started this part of the process. Okay, so some folks have a specific number in mind that they're working with. That's great. Other folks haven't started. They're just in the exploration phase, and that's totally fine too. This is really great information to have up front so that you can become more familiar with how to narrow down your choices. And I'll actually get into more tips about how do you narrow things down. How do you figure out the difference between one university and the other? We'll definitely get to that. So hopefully any confusion that you have about this process can be cleared up soon. All right. So once you start a UCEAP application on the UCEAP website, and if you select English, Scottish, or Irish universities, it'll take you through a variety of different things you need to fill out, like personal information, and one of the sections will involve academics. In the academic section, there is this piece that you're seeing right here that says academic considerations for institution placement. It'll show you the rankings. This is just an example. And then there's a little section that's a block of white space where you can essentially enter any consideration of academic factors for why you would want to be matched with a particular university. Because again, you're only getting matched with one, but you can rank and list multiple. So to make your application as strong as possible, thoughtfully complete this section of the application. You do not need to write an essay. This isn't an essay prompt by any means, but don't just say, I want to be in London, or I want to be in Glasgow or Edinburgh. You can and should list academic factors such as Trinity College Dublin offers numerous courses in my field of study, or they have a top history department, and as a history major, that's something important to me. Or the faculty in this department conduct really great cutting-edge research on X, Y, and Z. These are the types of factors that you can really list in this section to maximize the space, as well as really drive the point home to why you should be matched with a particular university. It's your main chance to explain to the people reviewing your application why you've ranked certain universities as your top choices. So it's really important that you're not leaving this blank. Write something that lets us know why you ranked the way you did and what you want to study there. Don't leave it up for us to connect the dots. And again, this is not an essay prompt. You're not writing paragraphs of text. You can list things in bullet points, or you can just do 2 to 3 sentences. If all that you say in there is that, you know what, they offer this, which is really helpful for my major, that's great. That's totally fine. And the next thing that I'll talk about is the academic offerings document. This is key to help you realize which universities might be the best academic fit. And I'll actually have a little time to demo this for you all. So on each program's academic page, you'll see catalogs and resources. I have a little snapshot here where this is located, and I can show you on the website in a moment. This helps you to answer the question, which university offers me what I want to study? And it discusses any of those restrictions to be aware of. And what this will look like is on the website for UCEAP. Just do this example. We have Brunel University London, part of the English Universities program. I am on their academics page. And if you scroll down to catalogs and resources, you will see academic offerings. If you click on that, it'll show you this document. And they'll give you an overview of how to use the document. But then this is what's super important for English universities in particular. And I'll talk about Irish as another example. And the Scottish and Irish one look very, very identical. But English is a little bit different because there's a lot more universities present. So it'll show you a grid. And in the grid, it'll show here are all the different universities. And a little check mark means, yes, you can study that subject at that university. So if you're looking at anthropology, you can see, yep, Brunel offers it. KCL, which is King's College London, UCL, University College, Bristol, East Anglia, Kent, Manchester. Great. I know where to start now. I don't have to look at every single university. This helps you narrow it down from the beginning if you're considering English universities, because it saves you the disappointment of getting really excited about a university and then finding out later that it doesn't actually offer you what you would want to study. Irish universities and Scottish universities, they have the exact same for pretty much. Trinity College Dublin is the example here. Also academic offerings. They show you this as well in their simplified grid because there's just these 4 options here. So that's how you do it. And then if you scroll down, and this is the same for English as well, scrolling past the table will show you quick snapshots of each university and more details about the academics there. So I highly recommend utilizing these tools to help you narrow down your choices and figuring out which 2 or 3 do I want to rank as my top choices. And with that, I will get back into the presentation. and talk about timeline. So for English, Scottish, and Irish, if you're looking at a fall year program, the application opens in October. They're already open. You can get started today if you want, but they close in January. And then once it closes, I'll review it for the minimum criteria and completeness of the application, and then I'll move you forward to the matching phase, and this happens in early February. Then what happens in February is the UCEAP system-wide office, who works closely with our partners abroad, will send you a welcome email and just say, you know what, welcome to the program. In the next few weeks, we'll be matching you with a university. And they will refer you in around March to a host university, and you'll receive the host university's application. So you do the general UCAP application where you do your rankings. And then much later, you get matched with one university, which you end up applying directly to. At that point, if you're referred to a university, you're more than likely going to be accepted by that university because you've already gone through all of these steps. And then the official acceptance comes from the host university anywhere from April to May. In some rare cases, early June. If you're looking at spring semester, it's the exact same process. The timeline's just shifted a bit from January through October. And now we will get to any questions. That's all the content that I'm going to be sharing. But if there are any questions, please do feel free to input them in the Q&A. If there's something that's still unclear, please let me know. Oh, I think there was something that actually came through in the chat. What site is it that we were just looking at? It's the UCEAP website. I'm seeing one question. So the application to go abroad in fall is for next year. Yes, that is correct. So you would be applying this fall, essentially, to go abroad next fall. I saw another one. Where do I go to get one-on-one counseling for study abroad? That, if you're specifically looking at these programs, you can contact me. I'll have a slide with my contact info, actually. We'll still get to that remaining QR code thing. But this is my contact info for English, Scottish, and Irish universities if you want to schedule a one-on-one appointment. But generally speaking, if you're interested in really any programs, you can reach out to us through drop-in advising for one-on-one sessions. That information is located on our contacts page for our website. But you can do it through drop-ins if it's quick questions. But if you know specifically a country or a program, then we have designated advisors for that for one-on-one. Another question, if I want to study the language of the country at the university, Scottish or Irish universities, how would I go about finding out if I can do that if the courses are not listed under UCLA courses? So you can find out if they offer that language on the academic offerings document, as well as looking at the host university's course catalog. They will have information there, but usually start with the academic offerings document because that will let you know if there are those types of unique opportunities. They tend to highlight that on academic offerings. And then I'm not necessarily sure about if it's not listed under UCLA courses. If there's a follow-up to that, or if I already answered your question, just let me know. But I'm not 100% sure what the second part of the question is asking. It looks like there were some other questions that came through. Is it the same for summer? And I also saw that someone was asking about summer study abroad. So these programs are exclusively fall semester, spring semester, or during the year. We have a variety of UK summer programs, but that's a different, they're different programs. They tend to be international summer schools where you're in classes with international students from all over the world and not taking classes with UK students or Irish students. And yes, you can contact me for, there's a question about, will I be able to contact you? Yes, you can contact me. My email's right there for English Scottish programs within UCAP. And we have a question. So if I'm not using an American passport, do we apply for a visa ourselves or through you all? So you do receive guidelines around how to apply for a visa, if applicable. You essentially are responsible for doing that yourselves, but you receive guidance. So you're not starting from scratch. It's just, you get kind of like a document, a couple of pages that talk about, here's information and tips on navigating the visa process. This is what you will need in advance. So you'll receive that assistance. Okay, glad I got your question. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, and more clarification around the website that I was using earlier. So I'll open that one up again. This one is the UCEAP website. So I'll just drop that in the chat. So when you're looking at the documents that I was referencing, or actually, whoops, let me make sure that went to everyone. So yeah, I just dropped the link for the website in the chat. It's the ucap.universityofcalifornia.edu website. There as well, you'll be able to find the individual university pages. You can use their search to look at English universities, Irish, and Scottish. And then all I did was essentially I went from that page and then I clicked on one, and then you go to academics. But this is also where you find information around housing, the cost of the program, etc. Okay. I'm not seeing any more questions. I'm not sure if there were some that came through in the chat separately and not the Q&A. I'll try to keep an eye out for those real quick. And then the question is it the same approach for other countries? It is not. This is a very unique structure to English, Scottish, and Irish universities. And that's why I've had this separate webinar exclusively for these, because they are pretty unique. A lot of other programs are a lot more straightforward. So they don't have you ranking universities. It's not this whole list that you have to choose from. It's really just the Leiden University College program or a program at University of Sydney. So where you can find the cost is the same webpage for the UCAP link that I sent, and that is over here. You'll see the dates and eligibility, academics, housing, and then cost. And if you click on that, it'll show you estimates for the cost, because it varies depending on the university. Obviously, London will be a more expensive location. So if you're looking to save a little bit on your program, consider locations outside of London. And then let me see. Also, I just want to mention it is 3:30 now. I can stay on for a little bit longer for any remaining questions, but I just wanted to make sure that if you had somewhere else to be, it is past 3:30. We're at 3:31 now. But let me see if there are any other questions that I may have missed. Okay, it looks like I got all of them. So with all that being said, again, this is my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me if you have further questions about English, Scottish, or Irish universities. And with that, that will close us out. So thank you all so much for your engagement throughout. I hope I was able to answer your questions and provide a little bit more clarity on how to apply for English, Scottish, and Irish universities. Thank you all so much.